Hey guys, Jeffrey Leon. Welcome to this edition of Satan's Strategic Command, dedicated to the advancement of Christian theology, explicating the mark of the beast. May God bless the reading of His holy word. I just wanted to quickly say to you guys, we've been discussing the beast, the image to the beast, the mark of the beast, and the great apostate movement of Revelation 17. And as I said before, Satan cannot receive his crown in the kingdom of men until he has seated himself as king in the hearts of all flesh. And about the image of the beast. The image of the beast is the manifestation of satanic power residing within man, as evil men choose to yield to that power and thus emulate the ascension of Satan in their hearts and a singular vision to lift up that power into and within the kingdoms of men. Revelation 13:15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And Isaiah 14:12-14. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mountain of the congregation on the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And finally, Ezekiel 28, 14-19 says, Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created till iniquity was found in thee. By the multitude of thy merchandise they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of God, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of stones of fire. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thine iniquities, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee, and it shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. All they that know thee among the people shall be astonished at thee, and thou shalt be a terror, and never shalt thou be any more. So this is a depiction under the I don't really know the right word for it, under under the depiction of the king of Tyrus. But we know this is actually Satan after he fell, because God's addressing him, stating that he was in the Garden of Eden, and he was an anointed cherub, and he was perfect until iniquity was found in him. So, but the image of the beast is the manifestation of satanic power residing within man, as evil men choose to yield to that power and thus emulate the ascension of Satan in their hearts and a singular vision to lift up that power into and within the kingdoms of men. And this makes this clear. Revelation 17:17 makes this clear, for it says, For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. So the image to the beast is the manifestation. It's as contained in Revelation 17:1-6. It's a fraud image of righteousness that it's not necessarily a religious power. You know, God's mercy and grace covers any blasphemy or fornicating with the world that the shepherds of the sheep manifest. That's what mercy and grace is for. And so, but we do know that it's a consolidating power, and that God gives people this as the beast, the image of the beast, conglomerates and incorporates its singular world vision. It emulates their father. As man yields his affections more and more. No, wait. As man yields his affections more and more to satanic power, the less and less he becomes of Satan's presence in his life. And this is what Isaiah 8:20-22 is explicating here. It says, The Word of God, as manifest in the Son, Jesus Christ, says, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, is because there's no light in them. They shall pass through it, hardly bestead and hungry. They're hungry. There's a famine for the world. When the first incarnation of the beast during the Middle Ages, the Bible was actually banned for a while, and that was a spiritual famine from men not being able to go to the scriptures and apply the seeds of life directly. They had to go to other people because other people controlled them. Other people controlled the population and controlled them monetarily, and the false apostate church, which didn't start out like that. It started out as God's favorite jewel. It was supposed to be the crowning jewel of God's glory, but it changed. It inflected its ideology, and it eventually started writing all the steps down. It started writing law after law after law that were contrary to the grace and the glory and the presence of God, until finally it was rejected by God. And this was what's depicted as the first incarnation of the beast in Revelation 13 verses 1 through 10. And at the last verse it says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience of the faith of the saints. So we know that as man yields his affections more and more to the satanic power within inside himself, in his soul, he becomes less and less cognizant to Satan's presence in the natural world, to Satan's presence around him, and not just spiritually, but as the king of the Antichrist, the appearing of the Antichrist, which we know 2 Thessalonians 2 says is not going to happen until all the people that receive the mark of the beast fall away from the passive glory and grace and the presence of God in their lives, till God leaves, says, that's enough. They don't want me. They don't want anything to do with me. I'm going to leave them over to the master that they've chosen, and they receive the mark of the beast. They fall away. That day shall not come unless there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, the son of lawlessness. He's a fraud image of righteousness, but he's just poison disguised as lemonade, and he can't show up. We know Satan cannot receive his crown in the kingdom of men until he has seated himself as king in the hearts of all flesh. And as man yields his affections more and more to satanic power, they become less and less cognizant of Satan's presence around them. It says, to the law and to the testimony they speak not according to this word, is because there is no light in them. And they shall pass through it, hardly bestead and hungry. And it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves and curse their king and their God, and look upward. And they shall look under the earth and behold trouble and darkness, dimness of anguish, and they shall be driven into darkness. They've set up a king. This is a depiction right here. They've set up a king that's actually a god. He's actually their god. He's not just a king that's ruling temporally as like in a benevolent democratic society. They're going to lift up a king that first seats himself in their hearts to destroy their soul, and they're not going to know it. For a while, they're not going to know it until God gives them light. They're just going to be perplexed. They're going to say, what is going on? We've got this one world ruler that claimed to have the final solution to all the world's problems, but really it just turned out it was another fraud image of righteousness. I mean, from time immemorial, men have been rising up against the status quo. Satan's gone to the masses and incited insurrection and rebellion. They've executed the establishing governing powers and set up provisional governments, only to find, this happened in France, only to find that the next power was just as bad, if not worse, than the power that they just exterminated. So, So this is what this passage is depicting. It's depicting the culmination of men that have yielded their affections to Satan. God has let them go. He's not even manifesting a passive presence. He's not protecting them spiritually anymore. He's left them over to the God that they've chosen. And since Satan has seated himself as king of their hearts, they're going to raise him up. There's not going to be a vote. It's going to be, it's poison disguised as lemonade. They're going to think they're doing the right thing, but when it's all said and done, he's going to manifest his true nature, and that's going to manifest through Revelation 13:15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and would cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So that tells me right there, all the way up until the death decree, all the way up until Satan is almost about to appear, and men are about to legislate a death decree worldwide if they won't enter into his kingdom, that people are still resisting. People are saying, no, we know this is wrong. We know you people are doing wrong. You can't force us, you can't force anybody to worship and into the kingdom of God. Revelation 3:20 makes that absolutely clear. And as the peoples of the earth that actually don't know God, they have a form of a religion, but they really don't know God, they come together because conditions get so bad and they don't know why they're being tormented, as Revelation chapter 14 and the third angel message delineates. People that really never knew God start looking for an outward manifestation of him. And eventually, he calls fire down from heaven, which is depicted in Revelation 13:11-18. He calls down fire from heaven to fool people. It's people base their faith on the miraculous instead of planting seeds of faith in their heart over the years, so that God can dwell in them and lead them and manifest his presence to them on a day-to-day basis. It's people that have chosen, that don't have any faith. It's just a fraud image of righteousness. It's poison disguised as lemonade, and they make the wrong choice. They make the wrong choice, and they become the tares instead of the wheat, the goats instead of the sheep, and they're lost forever. And eventually they come after the righteous people as Satan incites them and tells them they're doing the right thing to try to exterminate Christianity from the face of the earth. And it's written in Isaiah 51:14, the captive exile hasteneth, that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his bread should fail. Satan does not want to be relegated to the lake of fire. He's got to capture planet earth, because we know he's stuck here. He's on his belly. When God cursed him, he said, on your belly you shall go, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life. He's down here. This is the great big dust bowl we got here. There's no amount of dead bodies we can bury. It can go on for millions of years. We can cremate people and just plant crops over them. So it's a bottomless pit, and he knows that. He wants to escape God's judgments, and he can't escape punishment by God. He can't escape punishment by God, but he thinks that he can. And so he captures people. He seals his crown of fraud righteousness in their hearts to bring them into his kingdom in an attempt to escape the wrath of God in the lake of fire. So, and remember, you can come to the throne room of God and receive your healing directly. Matthew 13:10 and 11 and 14 and 15 says, and the disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. And then is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, by hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed. That's at any time they see with their that's at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. If you were edified by this lesson, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel to receive notifications of future installments. Thank you.